I want to welcome you back to Thrive in the Word. My name is Leon DeHaan, and I'm so thrilled that you've come to listen to this video. We're teaching from the book of 1 Peter, the second chapter, verse number 12 today. Peter has already told these people that he's writing to that they are his beloved. In other words, he loves them. But he told them that they are strangers and aliens in the world that they're living in. And he continues that theme now in verse number 12, where he says, "Keep your behavior excellent among the Gentiles, so that in the thing in which they slander you as evildoers, they may, because of your good deeds, as they observe them, glorify God in the day of visitation." Now, what is he saying here? He's saying that we need, as believers, to keep our behavior excellent. Now, when he says that our behavior needs to be excellent, many times we don't understand that in today's society. Basically, what he's saying is he's saying that we need to be good. We need to do things honestly. We need to do things right. You know, many times we talk about excellence and we say, well, excellence is a clean car, or excellence is a nice house, or it's this or it's that. If it's in a church situation, they say, well, excellence is having the best lighting system and all that. Well, that might be part of excellence, but that's not what Peter is talking about. What Peter is talking about is our behavior, the way that we live in this world, keeping in mind that we are aliens. You see, anytime you travel to another country, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that you are an alien in that country. You are not a citizen of that country. And you need to make sure that your lifestyle is not something that's going to offend the people that you're living in. Now, I think that the greatest offense that believers can be to unbelievers comes in our behavior. And so Peter says, let your behavior excellent be excellent amongst the Gentiles, so that in the thing in which they slander you as evildoers. Now, we need to understand that Peter is writing to people that they're being persecuted very badly. And they're being looked at like they are evildoers. You know, we're living in a society here in the United States that things have changed so drastically in the last few years that now, if you're a Christian, if you believe in living right and living morally, now you are an evildoer. They call us all kinds of things. Well, that's exactly what's happening to these believers here that Peter is writing to. The Gentiles are calling these believers evildoers. You are doing evil. They hate them. They're persecuting them. And so Peter says, when you're living amongst these people that are calling you evildoers, make sure that you have good and excellent, moral and honest behavior. And then he goes on and he says, and they may, because of your good deeds. What's going to happen? He's saying that your good deeds are going to do something. And he says that they may, because of your good deeds, as they observe them. Now notice, they have to observe them. You know, I don't believe that believers need to be in this place of isolation where we just spend time with believers. I think you need to be out there in the world. But you need to be aware that people are watching you constantly. I have trained thousands and thousands of pastors around the world. And one of the things that I always tell them, I say to them, you know what, the way you live is a more powerful message than what you say from the pulpit. You see, people are always watching. They're always watching. My neighbors in my neighborhood, I've got great neighbors, but you know what? They're always watching. They're always looking to see. And you see, what we need to be conscious of is that we are living as aliens and strangers here. But you know what? We need to be conscious of the fact that people are watching our behavior. They are watching what we do, and our behavior will have an effect upon the people that are around us. Our behavior, the way that we greet our neighbors, the way that you work at the job. If you're always looking for a way to get out of work, they used to say, well, they work harder at getting out of work than anybody in the place. Well, you know what? Be a good worker. Work hard. Work with honesty. Treat your employer with honesty. Now, Peter goes on and he says, this is what's going to happen if we do that. He says in the very last part of verse number 12, he says, they will glorify God in the day of visitation. What's the result of believers living an honest life, a good life, a pure life in front of these other people that call us evildoers? What's the result of our behaving like Jesus? They will glorify God. Now, what does that mean? That they will give God the glory. That there's going to be a change that's going to happen in their lives. You see, I believe that the greatest witness that we will ever bring to this world is the way we live our lives. And so we need to understand that we need to live right, because when we live right, people see it. And then they glorify God. Now, it says here that they will glorify God on the day of visitation. Now, some people would say, well, that means that when Jesus comes back. And it could mean that, but I really believe this, that day of visitation is when the Spirit of God comes to them and convicts them of their sin. And now they've seen your life. They've seen the light of the gospel in being lived out in front of them. And now the Holy Spirit comes in on that day of visitation, and the two things together work so that these people's lives will be changed, so that these people's lives will be filled with the glory of God. Just think about that as you go through your day. Thank you for joining us. And I ask you to continue to join us and subscribe to our podcast. And we would sure appreciate that. Thank you very much. God bless you until we see you again.